to be a delicate balance between individual merit, political and regional considerations. This report by Francis Gashuri.
The IEBC selection panel has shortlisted 5 applicants who will be interviewed later this month for the chairperson's job. The 5 are David Muki Mereka, Roslyn Odede, Dr. Mutaha Kangu, Margaret Shava and David Malakwen. Mereka, Odede and Kangu will face the selection panel on the 28th, while Shava and Malakwen will be interviewed a day later. But merit aside, political interest and regional considerations will largely influence the choice of Ahmed Isaac Hassan's successor. Shava, a lawyer, was a commissioner in the defunct Truth, Justice and Reconciliation Commission. She is from President Uhuru Kenyatta's Kiambu County. Odede, who is from Kisumu County, was a member of the Judges and Magistrates Vetting Board. Devolution expert and law scholar Dr. Mutaha Kangu hails from Kakamega County and was one of CORD leader Raila Odinga's advisors when he was the Prime Minister. David Malakwen, a lawyer in the banking sector, is from Nandi County. David Mereka is from Ranga County.
It's good that we keep off politics at this stage. Let's keep professionalism and neutrality and regional balance at play in the fairest of the abilities.
There are no predetermined positions of who we would require. We have given a committee the mandate to come up with the names that they think consists of the most competent Kenyans who can be able to do the job.
But claims of political interference are already rocking the process.
We are informed that Jubilee is opposed to the appointment to the Commission of Kenyans who are patriotic and progressive and have a background and history of fighting for reform and change in Kenya.
We will not allow the selection panel to circumvent the process and bring on board a person who we know is political affiliation.
Ndio vile wameona tayari wanaenda kushindwa na Uhuru wanaingia na 70%, wameanza kelele ya kusema election inaibwa. Hii election naibu, si ndio hiyo?
The selection panel is expected to conclude the recruitment process by mid next month and submit 2 names to the president to nominate and appoint one for the IEBC chairperson slot once parliament approves. Francis Gashuri, Public First News.
Yes, and we continue with our news review, and that story by Francis Gashuri is what we want to discuss now with my panelists. And Senator Hassan Omar from Mombasa County has finally joined us. Karibu sana. I'm sure it must have been the rain that delayed you.
I was just right here when you just started, so we had to wait for the break.
Okay.
Definitely the rain adds a certain blessing.
Yes.
And thank you very much for that.
It's good to have you with us. And in time to discuss this shortlist for the IEBC chairman's post. Of course, now looking at, because of course they've already talked about regional balancing, political affiliations. Some of these individuals, the 5 of them, have been are known to be previous advisors of some of the political protagonists that we have. But just looking at regional balancing, yeah, one from Kiambu County, one from Kakamega County, Kisumu County, Nandi County, Murang'a County. Some of these counties can already be associated with particular political inclinations or affiliations, for that matter. And of course, that is what presents a problem. If you go and start doing elimination method, that this particular county will be seen as being affiliated to Jubilee, this other one will be seen as being affiliated to CORD, this other one, then where does that leave us? Because that's the kind of analysis we're already seeing right now. Let's start with you, Senator Hassan.
I think that's the problem we have. Everybody comes from a county, and every county votes one way or another. You know, that if you came from Mombasa, there will be a presumption of CORD. If you came from, as you put it, Murang'a, there will be a presumption of Jubilee. If you came from Kakamega, there will be a presumption of CORD again. So I think for me, what is fundamental is the character of the individual. Let me tell you, Mike Ibaki appointed Maina Kiai at some point as chairman of the Kenya National Commission on Human Rights. His affiliations to Nyeri County, because Maina comes from Nyeri, was not an impediment. It was not a fog for him to appreciate his mandate. He also appointed John Githongo as his advisor on anti-corruption. That never constituted any fog in terms of his clear vision. So for me, what I will urge any of those persons is that Kenyans might give you the benefit of doubt. It is how you internalize your mandate and your independence as an individual. Some of them have served in various commissions and have done fairly well as commissioners to those commissions. Margaret is one of them, Mutaha is another. The rest are without public service. I know we always pride ourselves that Mareka is from Lenana School. But all said and done, I think what will eventually bear is the fact that once you're appointed is how you internalize your mandate.
Yes.
Because I think, ultimately you might need a good man or a woman.
Yes.
But unfortunately, if he or she has not applied, yes, we go with the applications. But if you're not among the 15,
the argument is the KNCHR, these other commissions fighting corruption is something different. When it comes to IEBC and the elections in Kenya and the tribal, the way we retreat to our tribal cocoons when we're heading to elections, of course, that's a different ballgame, Senator.
I think as a former member of the Joint Parliamentary Select Committee on IEBC, we were very clear when we created a structure to identify the selection panel. We wanted them to be left with the kind of independence that has allowed them to come up with the shortlist. So the starting point is all Kenyans should accept this shortlist.
Absolutely.
They should accept it the way it is. Thereafter, because of now what it is, it has become clear that the people who have made the list are from the big tribes. The minority tribes, the smaller communities, they have no candidate. The second one is that, unfortunately, when it comes to regional interests, Shava is associated with Kiambu County, Meleka with Murang'a County, Odede, Luonyanza, and Malakwen, Rift Valley, and therefore Kalenjin. So the only person who doesn't have that baggage would be Mutaha Kangu. But to say Mutaha Kangu doesn't have that baggage is to assume that Wetangula will not be a presidential candidate. Is to assume that Mudavadi will not be a presidential candidate. So should Mudavadi or Wetangula be a presidential candidate, then he becomes a problem. Yes. Which therefore means that the only thing that should drive this should be the interviews. The interviews should be impeccable. As Hassan has said, we should go for the integrity of the guy, both current and in his history, and then we should look at his competence as a professional. How I wish they will come out during the interviews in the same manner that the Judicial Service Commission did when they were looking for Maraka. Yes. It was very easy for us to know that the likely winner will be this, so we're waiting for this.
Yes, but of course you've seen Leader of Majority Aden Duale there saying that they will not allow the selection panel to circumvent the constitution and bring in someone who's known to have political affiliations or to have affiliations to any of the political protagonists right now, and one of them, one of the people shortlisted, is known to have been a previous advisor to co-leader Raila Odinga. That already in itself presents a problem.
Truth be said, this list is a misstep. It is a major misstep on the part of those people who came up with this list, because first and foremost, when it comes to politics and governance, the issue of perception is so key. And therefore, as you have correctly alluded to, all these people, they hail from what we call the major tribes. And we all know our politics is tribal based. So meaning, even when one of them wins and the rest loses, there will be that notion that some tribes have lost, one tribe has gained, vis-a-vis the rest. So in terms of perception, it will start from a negative perception. Number two, they have shortlisted a candidate who is known, whose political affiliation is known, and it has been a historical relationship. Mutaka Kangu, everyone knows he has been advising the Prime Minister, the former Prime Minister. We all know his political persuasion. He, this weekend, he was a presenter in a seminar that I attended in Mombasa, Justice and Legal Committee of the National Assembly. And when you look at his presentation, you can see his political philosophy that is being exuded by his presentation. So the point is, it is, in my own opinion, it's unfair to a certain extent. I would have preferred for such kind of a character to be shortlisted as a commissioner. That makes sense. The chairman. Because there, it will be safely be assumed he's coming there probably to look at the interest of God. No, look here. One of the problems I've realized with this society is that notion of burying our head, where instead of confronting tribalism, we start looking at things as if we don't have tribalism. It would have been fair for us to agree. No. Look here, you guys of CORD nominate 3 guys from your regions or from your, let's say, your cohort. We people of Jubilee, we nominate our people. Instead of this idea of saying, oh, we do very fair and fair interviews, we don't regard tribalism, and thereafter the kind of people who are going to be nominated, they become contentious. Because I can tell you, if for instance, Mutaka Kangata becomes the chairman, we people on our side, we shall not.
The good thing about him is he's thinking from the prism of himself as an ethnic, chauvinist. Seriously, I never look at things. If you look at my politics, I never look at things from simply from the mirror. But let me tell you, if they invited Kangu, the chairman of the legal committee is Jeff Konga, who is supposed to be a member of the Jubilee coalition. The fact that they invited him as a resource person or a presenter in a parliamentary committee actually means that he has something professional to offer. Exactly. And the fact that my ideas will agree with Raila Odinga does not mean I support Raila Odinga. If my ideas agree with Jubilee, does not necessarily mean I support Uhuru Kenyatta. Political philosophies, as he puts it, is a matter of choice. And with a matter of choice, you can exude it. And every person in this country has a political philosophy or a political inclination. There are no angels of neutrality in this country. So thirdly, as I said, I have seen people who are able, that's why I'm beseeching them on their character, to raise to that position of being Kenyan.
That's a very idealistic approach. The fact of the matter is that politicians, like when Irungu Kangata here, and Aden Dwale,
I asked a few friends, I asked a few people of credibility, I thought of integrity to apply. In fact, some of those names I've mentioned were requested to apply. The problem is us, the politicians. These guys say you come and lose an election tomorrow, and the next thing you're on a platform saying I lost. The election was stolen, even if it was managed in the most transparent manner that is possible. So I think we're also partly to blame. But let's not cast aspersion on these 5 gentlemen and 5 ladies and gentlemen, because there was an opportunity for everybody to apply. Let's not now be hypocritical. It was published in these newspapers, as you saw it. I remember we discussed the criteria here. So it was published here. So everybody was given an opportunity to apply. Only 15 people applied for the position of chairman. And then this selection panel are men and women who we have a certain affinity of respect for, including parties representatives through the PSA, Public Parliamentary Service Commission. So they've come up with these 5 names. Let us try to move this process forward.
But Senator, of course, the way Senator Hassan puts it is very idealistic, and that's what we would want to happen. But the fact of the matter is, this could actually be presenting another war front between Jubilee and CORD in terms of who gets appointed as a chairperson of this IEBC, because it is crucial. 9 months to the elections, this is what everyone has been waiting for. Of course, when you start haggling over who takes over the position of chairman, that's a problem for us. What happens?
I am not surprised that the remarks made by Mheshimiwa Kangata, and by extension what you had members of parliament from Jubilee say on TV just now, this is expected to be emotive. And I want to appeal to the media not to drive that kind of agenda. I don't know whether you saw it, colleagues, that yesterday when they were breaking this story, when they brought on TV Citizen, when they brought Mutaka Kangata, they did not bring Mutaka Kangata. They brought Mutaka Kangata when he was handing over a document to Raila. They started the media. No, I'm saying what the media did. I'm not saying what the media is going to do. So you can forgive young Kangata for having been poisoned, because when he saw that particular footage, the media had driven a clever. It should not be lost to Kenyans that Mutaka Kangata played a central role in Boma's one. I mean, in the Boma's process of the.
He was a commissioner.
He was a commissioner, and thanks to him, we had a very good draft. Had that draft gone through, probably we would not have seen the post-election violence in the form that it did, because that is where the problem came from. And this is a son of this country. Thanks to the fact that he's highly educated, he's a doctor of law.
Okay.
Now, as another qualification he has, he taught me.
Yes. Can I finish? So we would like Mutaka Kangu to demonstrate through the interviews that he can be a good chair. Now, when you say it was wrong for these people to make the list and that Mutaka Kangu was working for Raila, advising him, are you therefore saying that Raila was controlling the selection panel? Raila had only one person on the selection panel, Karani. The other one was Wiper, Justice Malutu. That is it. The rest of the people were not Railas. So those are people with impeccable character. We hope that they met this
One question to you two gentlemen.
Yes.
First and foremost, I do not have a problem with the individual probably characters of these guys, not at all. But I'm talking about something called perception. There's a difference between realism and idealism. Look here, assume for instance all the guys who are shortlisted here were Kikuyus, and they are doctors. They have an impeccable record, but they're all Kikuyus. What could have been the reaction?
Already we have 2 Kikuyus.
No, I'm asking you, assume
if that is
the 5 were
argument.
Kikuyus. Assume the 5 were Luyas. Assume the 5 were Luos. The issue would have been, hey, how come...
of course, regional balancing is a requirement of the Constitution and has to be...
But my point is, the shortlist appears to have drawn candidates from the tribes which are antagonistic.
Not because of their tribes, but because of their CV.
We need to take a break.
Let's give the panel an opportunity to do its job.
No. Let's take a break. We'll return.
In the middle, we must come back to this. No, we must come back to this.
We need an orderly discussion now. We need an orderly discussion.
Let's